G'day guys, how's it going? Righto, welcome to part 2 of the ultimate Himalayan adventure build and giveaway. Now, if you didn't see part 1 and you're going, giveaway? What are you talking about? On the 6th of July, this bike's going to be given away with it all fully adventurized. That's what we're doing. If you haven't seen the first one, I'll put a link to in the description so you can check that out, and it explains how you can get a chance to win this bike. Now, all I want to do in this video is basically go over what makes up a Himalayan, and then I want to quickly run through some of the things that aren't so good or is good or whatever, and things that we can change. And if we've got time, we're going to be tomorrow, which for you will be bloody in a minute, take it over to the proving ground and give it a run over there. Right, so 21-inch front tyre or rim, 17-inch on the back, off-roading, brilliant. You've got 200 mil of travel on the front forks, you've got 180 travel on the monoshock at the back. The motor, so the motor is, they call it a LS410, so it's 411 cc's. It is single cylinder, 4-stroke, air cooled. It obviously has a oil bloody radiator there, and it's EFI. I'm learning to love the EFI now, not the old carbies. That's a joke for the guys that normally watch me. Right, we've got plenty of clearance there. I will put up down the bottom what that is. I can't remember what that is. We've got a 15-litre tank there, 800 mil seat height. So for those that are a little bit, they're short challenged or whatever, not a bad, that's a pretty good seat height when we're talking off-road bikes. Normally they're a lot higher. We've got the exhaust here, obviously in the upward sweep, because when you're doing river crossings or water crossings, you want that up high so you're not sucking in the water. Right, so we've got it's chain driven. We've got disc brakes on the front and also on the back. They're BREs, which I think is a cheaper version of the Brembo, but they are made by Brembo. ABS on the front, ABS on the back. The front can't be turned off, but the rear can be turned off or on. So if you're on the road, you have them on. When you're off-road, you turn them off. If that's what you want to do, that's what you should do. We've got a 5-speed gearbox in here. I think that's pretty much all you really need to know about this. Oh no, actually, and I'll put down here, because I can never bloody keep all these numbers in my head. So your max bloody, brake horsepower is there, and your maximum torque is there as well. Apparently this LS410 motor, they call it a long stroke, so you get really good torque. So in your low down stuff and you're doing the off-road, it can do the tractoring, and this is what I'm going to be testing and proving. And I have ridden this before, and it does do the tractor thing good. But then up in the higher gears, it can then just scoot along. Not a lot of power when you're up at 100 k's, 110, 120. 120, boom, that's pretty much it really. Not much left. It will do apparently 140 kilometers an hour. I've had this thing doing 120 quite easily on a sealed road, if you know what I mean. Anyway, all right, I'm going to drop this bike, drop it down. Let's just drop that down. Safety's out. Let's go down. Kaboom. Right, let's bring it over here. Right, let's have a look at this instrument bloody panel. So you've got your speedo in analog. You've got your analog revs per minute. You've got a little compass thing there. You've got your fuel, which is analog, obviously. Then over here, you've got digitally time, what gear you're in. You've got a trip A, a trip B. Apparently there's a trip F, which I think comes into play when you hit reserve. Obviously your odometer, and then it also has a temperature there. It's in Fahrenheit, which doesn't mean much to me, but anyway. And then we've got a little tripper thing here. And of course, we've got things like black blinkers and neutrals and check engine, battery, your ABS. You've got that turns your ABS on and off. This is the mode and the selector for changing stuff in there. Now, I did download the tripper. This is one of the things that I would say I wouldn't be bothered with. And I'm just going to bring up the Royal Enfield app. Hopefully you can see that, guys. And this should, yeah, it's already recognizing that we're there. So that would normally be red, but that's now changed to orange, so it knows where we are. So let's say I want to go, I've got to just drop a pin. And I'll go get directions. And what's going to happen is then go navigate. And now this,
onto Guthrie Street.
There you go, you can hear that. But this tripper thing, all it does is tells you how far and what your next turn is. So you can't see a map or anything on there. It's just giving you...
Turn right onto Guthrie Street.
It's just changed its mind which way to go. Yeah, so it obviously calibrated the best way to get to where I dropped that pin. So that's all you really get to see. In this day and age, you're either going to have a navigation system, whether it's a phone, a tablet, or a GPS unit mounted somewhere. So that I just don't, I think for me, that is just going to be a handy little clock. Now, and we are. I noted that the clock here and the clock there, they sometimes are out, but if you want to get that clock to sync with that one, you have to use that app. That gets the time sync out of there, because when I first had it, it wasn't in sync. So that, if you have that problem, if you got it and that's not synced up with that one, download that app and then that'll sync and get the correct bloody time. Whoa, 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 hold the video. There's an elephant in the room. It may very well be this bike. Now, before I give you these figures, I better take a swig of my cup of coffee. I think I might need whiskey in this, because they state that this is 191 kilograms in weight. And that's pretty heavy. I mean, that's close to a KLR 650, except this is only a 411cc bike. My DR650 is 164 kilograms. Now the reason for that is that I think the DR's got aluminium rims, it's got an aluminium swing arm, steel swing arm. That's got to add a lot of weight to a bike like this. But they're saving money by using the steel instead of the aluminium. So you're getting a cheaper bike, but you're paying for it in weight. I think that's how it works. Anyway, so what I did was, I thought, well, let's weigh it. Let's test it out. And I've got these scales, but you can see I've bloody broken it. And it's all right, I have a second one, because how I used to do it is I would lift a bike, have one underneath the back, one underneath the front, drop it down, and then I just calculate the two to give me my weight. Now apparently they say that the better way of doing it is actually just putting one under the rear, take that out, put it under the front, then add them. So that's what I've done. The rear is 95 kilograms, the front is 93 kilograms, so that gives us 188 kilograms. Now, they say 191 kilograms curb weight. So in Australia, curb weight means a full tank of petrol, all your oil, everything full. So I reckon there's most probably about I'm guesstimating 7 litres could go in there. So that will bring us up to 195 kilograms that this bike is weighing. So 195, 191, whether I've got that a little bit give and go. And then of course, I'm using scales like this, bathroom scales. So if they're saying 191 kilograms, I'm saying, yeah, I agree. That's what it weighs. Cool. Now let's get into all the other little bits and pieces. Let's get the tyres out of the way. That's a big subject for people, controversial or whatever. What I want to do, because on my bike Max, I run Dunlop D606s front and rear. A lot of people love that on the rear, but they don't like it on the front. I would like to put front and rear on there. In the comments, guys, go ballistic. Tell me what you reckon. But I know I can get Dunlop D606s front and rear that'll fit on there. This is 90/90 and the one on the back's 120, but I think we'll go 130. Well, I think we can get 130 on the back, which is, and I know there's enough clearance for it there. And we want to raise this guard here. There's a razor that you can get, which will just raise that just a little bit, which will accommodate that the bigger tyre there. Is that right? I think that, yeah. So that's what we want to do here. So hopefully you can see that, guys. Foot pegs, I'll brighten it up if we can't. So the first thing we're going to do is take those out, those rubber things there. That's also going to pay in the ergonomics here. It'll give me a little bit extra stretch, which will make it a little bit more comfortable. But we will put bigger pegs on there. But to start with, we'll remove that. Obviously, if you're just doing road riding or whatever, you just leave them in there. But if you're going to do off-road, take those out. You'll get much better grip without them in there. Right, now the fuel tank. So we've got 15 litres. Let me get my short lookers out. I made some notes here. So from what I can see on some website where they have people, the average they're saying is that you'll get on this bike, you'll get 30 kilometres per litre. So if you times that out, that's saying that you're going to get 450 kilometres out of that bike. The least that I saw, and this was an American site, and they said 58 miles per gallon. So, and this was an article, and they said, so it shouldn't be a problem getting 200 miles. And when I converted 200 miles, that's 321 kilometres. So worst case scenario, 321 kilometres, or at well, average 450. I'd say that's most probably your best case. Well, that beats that 300 kilometre range. So I don't even need to add extra petrol way of carrying petrol, because it's beaten that. It's going to do that 300, which I was saying we need to have it do. So that's bloody brilliant. Now this foot brake thing here, it's a very simple rudimentary system. I think I'm going to be happy with that. If this falls over and this does get munted, this system is an easy bend to straighten up kind of thing. I don't think we need to mess with that. But with the gear shift on the other side, that's another bloody thing. Also, what I'd like to say is this bike, as we're going around, you'll see it's got all bugs and bloody bits and pieces all over it, because I did that ride from Melbourne up here to Bendigo. There's no marks on this bike at all, but down here, see that there? That's basically someone's, when they were demoing the bike, that's rubber that's stuck on there. That will come off, no problems whatsoever. But that's the only thing I've seen on this bike that's affected. Everything else is perfect. Right, just coming around here, guys. So I want to look at this. Okay, you can see this gear lever here. Straight up, this part here doesn't do a bendy thing. It's just solid on there. Soon as this bike goes over and happens to land on that, it's just going to munt that up, and it's going to be an issue. So I don't know. We've got to try and find a gear lever that we can have where it has the flippy thing here. That's a definite need to sort out. Right, bash plate. I mean, that's hard. That's not a bad bash plate. It's a decent, solid bloody thing, but we are going to change it. The one that we're looking at actually covers the exhaust as well, and it's going to be it's black in colour, which I think will be will look better basically, and will be more sturdier than this. But I don't see a problem with this particular guard. It's just a bit, I don't know, let's call it pox. I was hoping that, they've got a chain guard there, brilliant. I was hoping that this guard here was going to be made out of metal, but that's actually plastic. So I thought that would be a really good spot to save a bit of weight, but they've already got a plastic one on. I ran my plastic one on my DR650 for years. I've only just recently changed it over to a metal one. But anyway, so yeah, that's all right. Now we will look at changing the exhaust pipe on it, see if we can get a better sound out of it. Doing the K&N filter, help it breathe a little bit more, might get a little bit out of it, who knows. And we might save some weight on this as well by doing that. And I think saving the weight is most probably the best thing out of changing that. But that's actually quite a good looking exhaust buddy muffler there. So that there, silver. I thought there was another one. There used to be, no, it must be on the old model. There was another one there. But you look at possibly painting that one there black. I just think to match with that would be a little bit better. That's just a bit of bullshit. There's lots of things. So you've got your brake reservoir there. You've got your master cylinder unit for your back brakes there. We can buy a cover to go around that, a cover to go around that. But I do want to be careful. Like, we're already starting out with a heavy bike. We don't want to just start strapping all shit to it and making it even heavier. So we're thinking, obviously, putting a bit more weight on the bottom, way down there, not a big deal. When we put weight way up here, that's starting to become a problem. So maybe these two, that's not high up and they are only small. But remember, all these little things do add up. So that's another thing we've got to remember. But they may be things that we do. Yeah, we'll see. Another thing that we could do for weight is to take off the rear pillion pegs if we're not going to be having anybody on the back. We could remove those. That's just another little bit of weight. I did have Nay. I will take Nay on the back of this and we'll do a bit of a run just to see how she goes on the back of this bike, but you know, whatever. Another thing that you can get is a guard for this exhaust here. We're not going to have to worry about that because, as I said, that bash plate actually comes and wraps around that pipe there. I personally wouldn't have put it on. A lot of the bits and pieces are things as you're riding a bike, and then I know a month down the track you go, oh, I just feel like buying something and adding it. I've done that with Max the DR650. You know, you just go, oh, it's just, you know, it's been 3 years. I want to bloody put something different on him just for entertainment purposes. Now the radiator guard, we'll have a look at that. So you see there's the radiator guard. So that's an oil radiator. I reckon that's actually pretty good. You can buy ones that will go over this or replace that. But honestly, this fully covers all the fins. It's metal. I don't think there's any need. It's one of those things that you would do down the track just for shits and giggles. That's my thought. Right, that's just a few of the little bits and pieces. I'm not talking about the bars and bark busters and all that kind of stuff at the moment. Let's just now quickly go, what if we want to service this motorcycle ourselves? Is it easy to do? So if we want to change the oil on it, really this bike is bloody simple. There's your drain plug. It's not underneath there, it's there. Undo that, drain all your oil. That's where you put the new oil in. That's your oil filter there, 3 bolts, boom, done. Honestly, it doesn't get any bloody simpler than that, and you don't need a motorcycle lift to be able to do that. Need to change a spark plug? Hey presto, easy as. Righto, so how do we get the seats off? This took me a little while to bloody work it out, but you just turn that, and I think this pops off, which then takes that off. I mean, how easy is that? Obviously under your seat you've got the bloody OEM toolkit there. To get access to the battery, basically move that out of the way there. There's our two terminals there. Not a problem for jump starting or bloody charging or whatever. And of course you've got 4 bolts to take both these side panels off. Like that, back underneath there like that. So that's good. Very, very simple. Right, so I have taken off the side plate, so 4 bloody, what do you call, Allen bolts. Take that off. There are 3 Phillips head screwdriver bloody things in there. And then this should give us access to the air filter. And so that's a paper air filter. I mean, that is just so simple. Boom, that's it. So there you go, guys. And this is the thing. So it's a cheap bike to buy. I think it's 8,000, hang on. $8,390 right away, Australian money. Now, obviously, if you get some of the better tanks, you might pay an extra couple of $100 for those ones, but $8,390, that's a cheap bike. But the thing to this is now, when you buy some of those more expensive bikes, and when you try and do stuff that we've just done then, and I've done that in no time whatsoever, it costs a lot of money to service your bike. You take that to the dealer, because they've got to rip off so much shit and crap, and you're paying brand bloody prices on shit, you're walking away from a service paying $1,000 friggin' dollars. Well, you can service this, anybody. I mean, it doesn't get any bloody simpler than that. Anybody can change the fluid, the oil in there. Anybody can bloody change the air filter. I mean, that's simple. Change a spark plug, get access to your battery. I don't oil my chain, but you can just oil your chain. Oh, you can oil the chain on anything. Do you know what I mean? So not only are you saving on buying the bike, you're saving on the service costs of this bike. We know it's a reliable engine wise, and the parts for this are not going to bloody break the bank either. Again, you're not paying that brand price on stuff. So there you go. So that's it. That's the runaround. I don't know how long this has been going. I'll most probably cut this video here. I'll leave the proving ground. So riding the stock Himalayan over at the proving ground. We're going to do that tractor stuff. We're going to go up and over and do some pretty decent bloody off-roading on this bike and see how it handles. Rightio guys, hope you enjoyed that. I know there was nothing exciting in here, but we had to get this bit done. Righto, remember, keep on riding, and if you ain't riding, keep on keeping on.